any like warning. It's just like surprise.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, let's get this industry event started. So, hello guys, my name is Justin Martinez. I'm the Bits and Bytes president for this term, and I would like to introduce Sarah, the former BBA president of the Bits and Bytes Association. So yeah, just go ahead and introduce yourself, I guess, your elevator pitch.
My elevator pitch. So thank you, Justin, for having me. Like Justin said, I am the former BBA president, so my condolences, Justin. I kid, it was a great experience. But I graduated from Red River in April of 2019. And now I graduated from the BIT program, and now I am an information security analyst at Canada Life. Most of my work is in kind of governance, security awareness and training, threat risk assessment kinds of things. I'm CCNA certified, Security Plus certified, and later this year I'll be writing my CISSP exam. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. I don't have a lot prepared. I figured I would just kind of let you all drive, and we'll see where the conversation takes us.
Awesome.
So did anyone have any questions like prepared? I don't know how you want to run this.
Yeah, for sure. If any of you guys have questions, you can use the chat on the side here and just ask away. But yeah, so you talked a little bit about your journey. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, how did you end up rerouting into security and from the BIT program specifically?
It's a great question. I was actually like from the get-go, I wanted to go into security. So I started university at University of Winnipeg in 2013, and I went there because at the time I didn't meet the entrance requirements to get in anywhere else. So my thought was, I'll go to U of W, I'll take business and I'll take computer science, and yeah, by the end, I'm sure that I'll figure out how I'm going to get into security. Other than that, I don't really know what I'm doing with my life. And then in my it was my third year of university, I studied abroad in Scotland. And there I studied digital forensics, network security, and penetration testing. And I really, really liked it, for one. It was super fascinating, but there I also learned that I am much more of a hands-on learner than sit in a classroom for 3 hours and hear about how theoretically we would probably do it, I guess. So I transferred to Red River when I got back. The information security program didn't exist at the time. And there wasn't really a lot in Canada when I started. There were a few one-off courses for like, fourth year university students or people nearing the end of their program, but there wasn't a lot for like, I want to go do security. So it was like, hey, I guess I'm just gonna like invent my own way into doing that. So while I was in BIT, I focused all of my electives on networking and server security, and took there are 2 security courses I could take in a Linux course. So I added an extra term onto my journey so I could get all of the electives in, and then used that to get an entry-level security job.
Wow, that's a pretty exciting journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and studying in Scotland, that's actually pretty insane.
It was super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing we have a question here from Adam. What do you wish was covered in the BIT program but wasn't? I know that you took those electives, which are pretty nice, but yeah, what else would you want in this program?
So at the time, when I went through, there was nothing about Git or GitHub. And luckily, I had organized and attended enough of these BBA events to hear this answer from like every single professional who came through. So I was able to take it upon myself to learn. And that was really helpful going into my co-op. I don't really use it now, but it's helpful. It was helpful in my co-op and helpful for sort of understanding the context of things that are discussed. Now, I'm sorry, my cat is used to me being done work now, and so she's being a little obnoxious. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the joys of remote work has a lot of troubles,
Yeah.
I guess, struggles.
Yeah. Well, and she, she's good. She naps most of the day, but at 4 o'clock, she decides the work day's over, and now it's time for attention. Yeah.
My dog's the exact same way.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I am blessed with remote work, and it has been awesome. It's a great fit for me. I know it's not for everyone, but it's been a good fit for me.
Right. Do you find that remote work is a little bit more beneficial now that you're away from the office, or in terms of work-life balance, I guess?
Yeah. So I actually changed jobs during the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, and like I was still my first job out of bit, and my commute was, well, when I first started, it was like 2.5 hours because I didn't drive at the time, and so I was still taking the bus, thanks student budgets. And so it was, it was like 2.5, and that's assuming I got all the buses on time. It could easily be like a 3-hour journey each way. This is just like way the heck out and like out of the way. And then even after I got a car, it was still like a 45-minute drive each way. So when I got, and it didn't really, I knew that the commute was long, but I didn't really realize how much of my day and time it was taking up until I started working from home. It's like, oh my God, I have all this time in my day. Cause like, yeah, I don't have to commute, and I don't have to like put on makeup, and I can just like do my laundry between meetings. So it's been really good that way. I get to actually enjoy my weekends. Something recurring theme you might hear from people in tech and security is a lot about burnout and long hours and having to work very hard and a lot. And all of that is true. So you have to take precautions to make sure you're putting yourself first and taking care of yourself. And for me, part of that is trying to do as much as I can during the week so I can actually enjoy my weekends and days off. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's obviously something I learned the hard way. All this
Yeah.
time, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But I'm actually pretty thankful that a lot of companies nowadays are actually going a hybrid format, opposed to just fully online, because like you will not get a lot of the stuff done online
Yeah.
or just at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
We have a question here from Ryan. For someone interested in networking as opposed to software development or programming, would you still recommend staying in the BIT program?
Oh, I got you, boo. I could not stand programming. It was literally the worst thing I ever had to do. And I still talk about how much I hated it. I will still like high five my programming 2 instructor with great joy that I never have to take her class again, which is funny because like, when I go for beers, I'll be like, Lisa, I'm so glad I never have to take your class again. Yeah, but I still do recommend it. All the stuff, for as much as I can go on for a long time about how much I hate programming, everything I did learn about programming, I use fairly regularly in my work. And once I got out of like my 2 required programming classes, I was able to focus on networking and more of the infrastructure side of things. And it still worked really well for me for those things.
Yeah, for sure. I know that a lot of opportunities actually opened up for me just being part of the Red River College. And obviously you don't have to, you get pick and choose which path, programming or networking, but I think that you'll find that more nowadays. I know that CCNA includes a lot of Python or automation stuff, but yeah, it's obviously a lot of exciting stuff, but obviously you'll have to know, like the max you'll have to know is just scripting in the networking atmosphere if you decide to go down that route. We do have a question here from Dawn. How did you study for the CIS 601, and what additional resources did you use to prep for the CISSP?
So my workplace has a learning portal. So another pro tip for when you are looking for jobs and stuff. Something that is super awesome when a company offers it is support for education and training. You know, whether that is through their own online learning things or through giving you an allowance for training. Those are awesome things to do, which I realize is the last thing you want to be thinking about as you are finishing school or even going through school, is thinking about all the more training. I get it. Don't think about it till you're ready, but keep it in the back of your mind that that is a very good thing to have. So all that to say, my company has an online training thing where I'm able to pick up some courses and stuff. So so my Security Plus, I did some training through there. And I also, there's this dude on YouTube. It'll come to me.
Network Chuck.
No, it wasn't Network Chuck. I'm pretty sure. It'll come to me, and if not, I'll message afterwards. But
for sure.
He does these just incredible YouTube playlists for Security Plus that goes through like each of the objectives in great detail. And so I watched those, and then I read Get Certified, Get Ahead. So yeah, I read some books, I watched some videos. The network security class I had taken in BIT was sort of aligned to Security Plus, so that was a huge asset as well. Yeah, so that's sort of, and yeah, so I think it was about 3 months of like really focusing on studying for that before I was ready. For the CISSP right now, I am going through like some video courses as well as reading the textbook. Like ISC Squared has their official textbook, and if you buy it online, it's like $60, and it comes with a test bank and yeah, you get the online text and then like test questions and stuff. So I've been using that, and it's been good. It's a dry read, but it's
for sure.
It's thorough.
You learn how to read out of a textbook, but you have to definitely know how to learn. And I guess that's something you kind of picked up while in school, right? You kind of learned how to learn.
Yeah. One of the reasons I wanted to be in security, is because I like learning. I like always learning, and I don't ever want to be one of those people who's like, "Hey, I guess I've learned all there is to learn, so I'm just gonna sit here till I retire now." Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good take. I guess in terms of just knowing a bunch of stuff, it can be a lot, right? It's security, and just this whole the thing that are happening in Ukraine, this whole cyber wars activity, fun stuff, I guess. It definitely is a booming field to be in, and a lot of it is exciting stuff.
Yeah. So in my role, I'm not actually, I'm not hands-on in the tech, so it's not like I'm looking at the logs to see if we have any indicators of compromise or anything like that. But I am reaching out to vendors and asking them, are they checking their logs, and if they consider the current global climate in their cyber attacks and stuff. When Log4j hit, it was like 3 days straight of reaching out to all of our vendors and being like, "Hey, have you patched? Oh, have you patched again since that first patch turned out to be jankier than we hoped?" And
for sure. I guess we can kind of segue into like how your day-to-day is at Canada Life.
Canada Life. Yeah, so my day to day, so I'm kind of like an internal consultant. So the have a security team that is like our security team, but most of my day I'm engaging with like various projects. So right now I'm on like 3 or 4 different projects. And what they want from me is like we have a list of security standards that they need to show that they are in alignment with. And so we'll go through that list and we'll be like, okay, so are you using multi-factor authentication in your application? Can you show me that you're using that? How are like what are your data flows? Like how are communications like in and out of your application working? Um, and so we'll go through these lists, and this sounds really simplistic as I explain it, but going through this list is usually like 3 or 4 hours in total, and that's assuming that they agree that everything applies to them. A lot of times they'll come back and be like, I actually don't think that I need to do this thing. Um, and sometimes they're right, and sometimes it's just they don't want to do the work. Yeah, so there's a lot of that. And then I will spend a large chunk of my day doing threat risk assessments. So if someone is building a new application and they want to deploy it and put it into production, one of the things I have to do is take a look at that application and determine kind of what the cyber risks are to having that out in the world and what the project team can do to sort of make those risks better, or just let them know that they're risks. I mean, accepting is also a valid option. But yeah, so that's a lot of my day is consulting for other projects. And then when I'm not consulting for projects, I am doing questionnaires. So sometimes it'll be reading security questions that other vendors have sent to us. And then sometimes I have to fill out forms that are like, hey, how are you doing this thing for security for our vendors? So yeah, there's a lot of work around that.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's exciting stuff.
thank you. You don't have to humor me. I know that it's I I sometimes joke that I spent like $20,000 to look at Excel all day, and I don't think I opened Excel once my entire time in school. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
that's my
mean,
exciting way of saying I look at Excel.
I'm sure if there's like data analysts in this meeting,
Yeah,
they'll probably say something different. But yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Do you ever
I
have
like.
to actually do any like disaster recovery plans while you've been at the company, or just
I have to look at disaster recovery plans. When at my previous company, because left, I left shortly after COVID. Um, I was part of the business continuity planning and disaster recovery planning, which was super interesting. I think I definitely won the lottery by graduating in 2019 because I was able to sort of like get out in the world and have a job and then also be involved in a lot of the security implications of COVID. Um, yeah, so that was I definitely lucked out there. But in my current role, I don't have involvement in making those plans so much as I have involvement in making sure those plans are in place.
awesome, awesome. I'm sure that there's a couple of security people in security, information security, in the information security program here today. I think I had a question. I think I was gonna moderate this, but um, apparently they can't talk in it. But someone asked, I want to, what kind of tools and technologies do you use to keep up with, I guess, documentation, that sort of thing?
Um, so for myself, for trying to keep all of my workloads straight, um, I'm using Joplin. I tried using OneNote and I don't know, it wasn't my jam. So I used Joplin, and it's basically like a fancy text-based notepad that allows you to like organize your stuff and just like super like nested and stuff. Actually, I can show you quickly. This is what I use for my like day-to-day organizing everything. It's called Joplin. I can't really show you any more than this screen for what I feel like are probably obvious reasons. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of, I just organize everything. There's all my projects, process information. I found that OneNote, I couldn't really organize it that well. So that's what I do for like my own task tracking and stuff and my own organization. And then as far as like documentation goes, like Canada Life is using SharePoint and Confluence. So it's really, my team mostly uses SharePoint, but I am definitely on both of those, using both of those tools fairly regularly.
Yeah, it's always great to hear more Microsoft products are being used in the industry. I think Adam here had a question about interviewing for co-op positions and
Okay.
The first position after graduation. So I'm assuming was it Canada Life?
No, it was actually a company called IC Group. So yeah, my co-op was at Wawanesa. Sorry to think for a second. When I was in university, I did 2 co-ops, and they were at Canada Life. And then when I was at Red River, I did a co-op at Wawanesa. I did not get hired after my co-op, and it was the best situation for everybody. And yeah, so, and then when I graduated, I got to go on the job hunt. So that was super stressful, but I got a job fairly quickly at IC Group. And so they are a company that does Twitter bots and like marketing, and then insuring events. So yeah, I worked there and I did compliance while I was there. So mostly PCI, so it's like credit card stuff, making sure that credit cards are being stored properly. And so I was really involved in their audits and working with the auditor, security awareness, phishing tests, yeah, creating a lot, like establishing a lot of their security. I was the first security person they'd ever hired. And I guess it just in that case, like timing was, I think it was just really the timing of me applying happened to work out really well for that. And so I was there for 18 months, and then I went on to Canada Life.
Yeah, that's actually pretty convenient. You go from insurance to insurance, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that experience kind of helped.
Yeah.
And doing similar kind of tasks there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like actually pretty happy that you've actually continued your studies after graduation. And I guess it's
Yeah.
kind of important for everyone here in IT if you
Yeah.
decide to pursue an IT career, which I'm assuming everyone here is. Yeah, so I'm just gonna ask like, what are your study habits? Because I know that the CCNA is no joke. I know that you might have taken the older one, but
I didn't take the new one with all of the programming and stuff.
okay,
I took the previous version, but
yeah,
yeah.
the split up into two.
Yeah.
Yeah, just actually kind of just curious on your personal study habits and how you go about studying for these monster exams.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like when I was in school, I was just like I was always studying and always working on schoolwork. And so it was a lot easier because school was my primary focus. And now with having a job and it, for me, it's about balancing studying for, future certifications and getting better at the job I'm currently in. So for so for CCNA, I was still in school when I did that. My goal was to graduate with a certification of some sort to sort of differentiate myself from my peers. Sorry, cat's being stupid. Yeah, so I wrote the exam during reading week, and then basically I got extensions from all of my instructors on major assignments, and they were all actually really supportive and stuff. Because like in general, I had been a good student. I attend classes and heavily involved in stuff. So so they were all very good about giving me extensions on stuff. And then for CCNA, I probably spent like 4 or 5 hours a day studying for it. Like I was super anxious. Definitely did a ton of studying for that most days. And then, then I passed the first try. So that, whatever, all my work was, it paid off. For Security Plus, I had a lot of kind of starts and then pauses because I'd wanted to do that exam a lot sooner. And then, things that like started my first job. So it was like, okay, so my focus right now needs to be in like starting this job and learning how to do this job. And so Security Plus took a bit of a back burner there. And then when I was ready to pick that up again, I spent like 30 to 45 minutes a day studying, like looking at the videos and reading the book I had. And then even then it was still like, okay, work got really busy. So I'm going to stop studying for a while. So it actually took me almost 2 years to write the exam. But when it came down to, okay, I'm writing this, I have decided that this is happening. It was about 3 months of like spending an hour, maybe 2 every night, making sure that I'm reading some stuff. Now with CISSP, I'd sort of started at the beginning of the year with, okay, so I'm going to start off slow and I'm going to commit to reading for 5 minutes a day. And that's all I have to do. And so I started off reading like 5 minutes a day, and I didn't get very far in the book, but it definitely started to establish that habit. And then watching videos while I eat lunch and stuff. Now I've I have calculated it where I will have to read like 10 pages of the textbook a day in order to finish before the end of the year. And I'm hoping to finish that exam at the end of the year. So yeah, it's okay. It's first thing in the morning. I am going to, read my book until I read 10 pages of it. That's sort of the approach I'm taking right now. Lots of people I work with have already taken that exam. So they've all been really good and have lots of advice and stuff for me too.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I know that imposter syndrome is kind of going to be a thing for a majority of us going into co-op in the industry. I'm guessing, how important is it to actually make those connections while in the, and how hard has it been, like doing it, some of it remotely?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to think on that, how to answer that. So it has been interesting starting on a team where I've never met anyone in person. I have never been in the office. Everything was done remotely, all of my interviews and stuff. My laptop got shipped to me. And so at some point I don't even have a key card to the office right now. So and that actually did come up last year when I was working on some security awareness stuff. We wanted to ship out prizes to people, and I actually had to get a coworker on my team to go into the office and mail stuff for me because I couldn't actually do that. Eventually I will get a key card, but they haven't brought most people back into the office yet. So it's been interesting. About half of my team is in London, Ontario anyways. So a lot of people, even if we do go back into the office and all happen to be in the office on the same day, it will be a while before I meet any of my other coworkers. So it's been a bit of a challenge, but my leader has been really good about making sure that we're connected. So there is a half-hour meeting every Friday that we call coffee time, where we have talked about everything from Marvel movies to Bollywood to best restaurants around. And so it's just kind of like an anything goes conversation. It's always a lot of fun. And then we have kind of touch points every day where we sort of, as a team, if we're available and we have time, we can go into this Teams call and either talk about stuff that's happening at work, or, if we just want to talk about other stuff, we can. So my leader has put a lot of effort into finding ways for us to still connect and be able to collaborate and work as a team, even though we are all apart. And some people are better at that than others. So there are lots of leaders and stuff in general that literally cannot cope with remote working. And I'm glad I don't work on one of those teams.
Yeah, I've been finding that a lot of doing things online, it's pretty hard to build that camaraderie with your peers. But now that things are starting to open up, I'm sure that hybrid is more of a common thing. I'm guessing, would that kind of include some of your challenges at work? Or would that be not as big of a challenge that might be it? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to shift here.
That's okay. Yeah.
Well, what's the most challenging part of your job? That's the question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. Okay, so the most challenging part of my job is honestly when I have to say no to people or give them bad news. I'm not good at it. It is something that I have to put a lot of work into, and I have to practice a lot because I don't like being the bearer of bad news. I don't like being the bad person, and I have to do that a lot. I would just like to be a pushover and let everyone do whatever the heck they want, but that would not make me a very good security practitioner. So the hardest part of my job is having to go to people and say things like, no, you cannot go into production until you fix these things. So having like a confident, assertive stance on things is the hardest part of my job, and that's more of a a personal development type thing where I need to work on, and I am actively working on. Yeah. If we're talking about like technologies and like, technically doing the stuff, a lot of having to give people advice around API security has been definitely breaking my brain lately. I don't know. I just read this random document, so yeah.
That sounds like IT in a nutshell. You won't know everything.
Yeah.
And just Google it.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. I'll be sitting in a meeting, they'll be like, so security, what do you think is the best way to do this? I'm like, oh, you should definitely do it this way.
Yep, for sure. I know that.
Not yet.
Yeah,
not just Google that.
talking to stakeholders is definitely a skill that you don't really learn how to do. That's why we're in the IT field. I know that 95% of us don't want to deal with the clients at the end base.
I'm so glad I don't deal with end users.
Yeah, But it is a skill. It's that is kind of important. Building up those soft skills. I know that some of these, some of my peers and some of the people that are going into industry, are going to be, utilizing a lot of the, I would say like, how would I say this? Sorry, like I totally blanked out there. I just got off work too.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff that you have to know. Damn, I just went off on a tangent and I just totally forgot.
It's all good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, their soft skills are important, and there will be a lot of your peers who will be trying to go into co-op and using those soft skills for the very first time and figuring out that they'll have to develop them, to put it delicately. It will be a rude awakening for many of your peers.
Yeah, that's why you join the BBA and do stuff like that while in college, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I found that really helpful. Like stuff like joining the BBA. I mean, I joined the BBA because the section I had, that it was pretty much entirely people who needed to develop some soft skills. And I didn't get along with them. I didn't like it all that much. So I wanted to meet other people who were going through school. So I joined the BBA, and that was a really good thing for me.
True, and doing more volunteer stuff while in college, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we have another question from Adam. Red River College is doing fewer exams and focusing more on practical assignments. Do you agree with this kind of shift?
Yes and no. Like, yes, I'm a huge fan of fewer exams and actually like having to do stuff, and show that you can do stuff. Um, that, yeah, like being able to actually do things is way more valuable than being able to press the right button on a multiple choice thing. At the same time, I am sad to see Red River shift away from more hands-on classes, which were the reason why I chose Red River, and start adopting more of a university model. Yeah, I know when I went through my programming classes were like literally live coding. We would be all coding together as a class, and the instructor would be coding and we would be coding. And I know they did away with that a little while ago, which is like, oh, well, like now we're in the exact same situation I was in university. So I'm sad to see that shift, but overall, like I think that doing away with a lot of the exams and putting more focus on actually being competent in the work you're doing is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I know that we're trying to. There's gonna be an option of actually doing networking 2 or networking 3, on campus or hybrid,
Okay.
or fully online. So maybe I don't know if that might be good to do that stuff on campus, but it definitely would be exciting because we've been all remotely doing all this packet tracer stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. See, like I guess it would really depend. I mean, like I don't I don't know that I could have done, I guess I could have done packet tracer through the whole course like everyone else does, but I really liked being in the lab and working hands-on with the equipment. But then again, I never touched it again after that. Like wasn't looking for like a networking job of any sort. Or so I mean, it's not like for me personally, having touched the equipment or not touched the equipment made a difference in my ability to pursue my career. On the flip side, if I was going to go be a network admin or some kind of support where I would have to be physically on site and handling things, I think that having just done things in packet tracer would not have prepared me. So I guess it depends on your goals.
Yeah, my co-op is pretty much going to be doing stuff on-prem and going outside the city, so I'm not really too excited about that. But
Okay.
yeah, Packet Tracer is not going to teach me going out to on-prem and doing stuff. But yeah, we have a quick question here from Dawn. who has his CCNA too. What's the strangest threat you had to go up against in your career so far? He did mention here log4j, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the strangest incident I ever got, and okay, so we have a group mailbox where one of us is in charge of going through the group mailbox, and you'll get everything from like automated emails with vulnerability scans to like random questions and stuff. And one day I get this question that's like, so we found this guy working. He wasn't working from home. He had gone working somewhere else. And is this a security incident? I'm like, what the heck? We dig into this a bit more. So this guy who he'd been working remotely like everyone else had, his house flooded. And so the internet was down and it was going to take a bit for it to be fixed. He had a buddy who worked at TD Bank. So he decided to go in to work with his buddy and just like camp out in a random meeting room at TD and work there all day. Eventually, the boss of like this guy who works at Canada Life but is physically working in TD, finds out and is like, oh crap, like what the heck? So they contacted us and they're like, is this like what do we do here? So that is the weirdest incident that I've ever had to deal with. What happened with that was like I think we ended up involving HR and our vice president and CISO, and the verdict ended up being it's not technically a security issue on our end, but we should probably notify TD that they should probably do some things about that, because the fact that some rando worked in a boardroom for weeks on end undetected is probably not great. But so that's the weirdest incident I've ever had to deal with.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Most incidents I deal with are stolen laptops or lost laptops, and phishing or business email compromise. And really in those situations, it's like, is the laptop encrypted? If yes, awesome. If no, then we have to engage privacy and have them open up a privacy incident, because working in insurance and finance, we are heavily regulated by a large number of regulatory bodies. So yeah, one of the things in multiple regulations we have to follow is that privacy incidents have to be logged. So yeah, for a stolen laptop, it's like, okay, if this isn't encrypted, then we have to open up a privacy incident and let the privacy people deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty much a sucker for clicking up those emails in my inbox, even though it tells me not to.
Yeah,
But
don't
definitely,
do that.
I think for me, it's like I think just knowing enough in terms of security, trying to just protect me and my family, is kind of important. Just getting them
Yeah.
aware, because definitely the older generation just straight up doesn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I like about doing security awareness and training is like I have a lot of flexibility with it. And so there's me and one other woman, and we have like a SharePoint site where we have a whole bunch of information about security and stuff. And we try to focus that on like how like you as an individual, not you as an employee who's protecting our stuff, but how you as a person can be a bit more secure for you and your family. And I really like taking that approach because you get a lot more buy-in that way. It's not like this is one more rule you have to follow as part of your corporate job. Yeah, and so we get a lot more engagement that way too. And that's one of the things that got me into security was like there's a lot of advice online and everywhere about how to be more secure for your organization and stuff. But like, how do I, as an individual with like at the time like zero tech knowledge, like how do I be more secure? Because a lot of the security advice you're giving is not accessible to me. So that's kind of, yeah, what I like looking at on the side.
Great. Yeah, it's great to hear that you have a passion for your work, Sarah. It's obviously something that you kind of have to do. And I know that choosing the path in this field is kind of challenging. That's why BIT is kind of like all over the place. And yeah, hopefully more people go into security because we'll definitely need it to protect ourselves and our country, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the challenge, I think, right now, like there's lots of demand for security. And I mean, I'm sure you're hearing that from all of your instructors too, is like, oh, there's going to be so many jobs, blah, blah, blah. But the challenge is getting in, because like in security, there are tons of jobs. None of them are entry level, to put it bluntly. A lot of the entry level jobs in security are like basically reading logs all day. Which isn't actually super applicable to most other security work. So most people who are going into security are coming from other areas of IT. And we're just now sort of as an industry trying to create more entry-level positions.
Yeah, for sure. I know that it definitely is like nobody really starts off in security. I always tell people that networking is the root of security, and you kind of have to know it. But yeah, I kind of linked Sarah. I linked your LinkedIn in the chat here.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
If you guys have further questions for her, just feel free to reach out because I think the lovely thing about Red River College is that people are always willing to help out our colleagues or our and feel free to reach out. And everybody else who attended here, you'll be entered for a draw. So look out for that. If you get a message from my treasurer, she'll hit you up. But I'll also link our website that Sarah had to help us out with once upon a time.
I documented that whole thing because I got to it and it was one person. He probably still owns the domain. And he had done the whole thing and then was like one of those, well, it's self-documenting. Pro tip for all of you, it's not self-documenting. It's just not. Believe me when I tell you this, it's not self-documenting.
Yeah, I definitely need to make it more accessible and do more documenting on this thing. If you decide to go down that route, I know that Adam had struggles with variables using 1, 2, 3 or something at his current co-op, which was hilarious. Sure. But I just want to. I know that some of us have class in about 5 minutes here. I just wanted to thank you, Sarah, for hitting up the PBA. It's obviously a fun time. Just we have these connections that we always can rely on. I know that your name is on this BBA website. You're a legacy. Obviously this thing will keep on going. Hopefully into on campus. We'll make it more lit. So look out for that message, guys. Thank you, Sarah, for coming by. And if you guys have further questions, reach out.
For sure. Reach out. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for having me. This was super fun.
For sure. If you guys want to join the Bits and Bytes Discord, feel free. And thank you guys for attending. So hopefully you guys got something out of it and I asked the right questions.
Hopefully.
All right. You guys take it easy.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.